Soccer has taken over Philly, and when the World Cup rolls out, the party doesn't stop because we have professional soccer right here. The Philadelphia Union returned to play to host rivals Red Bull New York on July 22nd. If you've never seen a match, now's your chance with the first match on us. If you have seen a game, enter today to win VIP tickets to watch Inter Miami take on the Philadelphia Union when Lionel Messi comes to town on August 18th. Register for both at philaunion.co/citycast. It's the Tuesday News Roundup, and we're talking about the 4 microbursts that hit the city this weekend. What actually is a microburst? New numbers out show hotel occupancy rates for July 4th. Was it a boom or a bust? And 6 Phillies are in tonight's MLB All-Star Game. It's Tuesday, July 14th. I'm Trenae Nuri, and here's what Philly's talking about. Where were you for the great microburst storm of 2026, Jay?
I was home. I didn't even realize that was going on. And a friend of mine was like, there's a tornado that went through Philly. I was like, what? What is going on? And come to find out it wasn't a tornado.
Right. Everyone was calling it a tornado. And it definitely was not a tornado. But yeah, like I was home as well. Now I heard it. I heard it. And it actually like delayed some of my dinner reservations that I made for Saturday night. But I was like, yeah, I'm not going out there in that storm. So, Jay, you said you didn't hear hear this.
Yeah, because I was home doing chores and just kind of catching up on things. And I had plans to go out that night. And a friend of mine was like, are we still going? Because there's a tornado that went through the city. And I was like, wait, what? So I had to, go online and go on Google to see what she was talking about. And come to find out it wasn't a tornado and it was a microburst. And I was like everyone else, what is a microburst?
Right. That's Jay Vereen, content creator here in the city. And also joining us for this episode is executive producer Matt Katz. Matt, where were you?
I was at the All-Star Village that they've been having all since Saturday over at the convention center, all kind of connected with the MLB All-Star Week and the All-Star Game that's happening tonight. So I got a text from my wife being like, don't come home, don't stay where you are, shelter in place, right? I'm like, what are you talking about? Because I'm in this huge building.
Right, and there's no windows really, like totally. When you're inside, like the big hall in the convention center. Yeah,
right. It's got to be the biggest building in the city, right? And there's so much noise, and there's kids. It's so loud. But then after she texted me, like a couple minutes later, I actually heard thunder, and I was like, damn, if I'm actually hearing thunder inside this massive building with all these kids and all this music going on, then it must be serious. And then when I left, it looked like a different city. There's trees down. There's traffic lights out. It was unbelievable how quickly this happened and how like intense it was.
Right. And what was like odd to me was that we saw so much damage in West Philly. Mm-hmm. Like, why West Philly? Usually, like, when these storms happen, you see it in, like, maybe, like, some of the northwest, northeast.
The suburbs.
Suburbs.
I thought the same thing, too. I was thinking, oh, maybe it was, a neighboring suburb, like Montgomery County or Bucks County, usually where there's, like, more space and more land. Yeah. Because when I hear tornado, that's the first thing I hear, or that's the first thing that comes to mind is, oh, maybe it was somewhere out in the fields or something, but like having it in the city is pretty nuts.
Well, apparently, because it was not a tornado, it was this microburst, and apparently there were 4 of them, and according to HYY, a microburst is a small but extremely strong line of sinking air that crashes to the ground during a thunderstorm. So it was really like targeted to certain very specific neighborhoods. So it was parts of South Philly and then mostly in West Philly, apparently. And there were 4 of them.
It's a new fear unlocked. I had no idea I need to be afraid of a damn microburst now. And also, it was like the flooding.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see those videos of like
Whoa.
cars being engulfed in water?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like the weather this year has been very aggressive. Like
Yes.
there, like the
Yes.
rain, like it would rain for like a day or something like that, and you would just see floods
Yeah,
everywhere.
why are you so mad, Weather? What's going on?
What
But
did
you
we
know, a
do?
lot of people are like pissed off, right? And then it's like this theme of, well, blame it on Mayor Sherelle Parker because, you know,
Right.
she can control the freaking weather. Listen,
Correct.
there was a lemon drop festival happening, which
Right.
that was happening in Malcolm X Park in
Mhm.
West Philly. Destroyed, tents
Mhm.
destroyed, people running for shelter, still holding on to some lemon drops. But I mean, it just feels like not only is the weather intense, it just comes at us so fast and so quickly
Without warning.
without warning. Yes, yeah.
It was I think it's because I remember I was outside during the day, and then obviously it was gonna rain, so I'm like, all right, let me go inside, do some things inside, and then there's this big microburst thing that happens, and then you go back outside when it's over, and it's like nothing happened other than the debris. So you're just like, what? Like it just came and went, and then it was just nice, like, and then just stuff everywhere on the ground, on the streets. It was pretty interesting.
I mean, I know Philly promised a lot of big events, but I didn't think weather was going to be one of them. And listen, if you're listening and you are still recovering from these microbursts, the city has put out a recovery page, a storm recovery page on their website, phila.gov, right on the homepage. And if you haven't gotten the text, you can text Storm PHL to 888-777 and sign up for the free alerts and recovery updates from the city.
And I've got some stats from the city too. There were 40 traffic signals that were out or flashing, plus
Wow.
downed poles. The fire department responded to more than 125 downed wires, nearly 300 tree-related emergencies. PECO had 27,000 customers without power. So that's some of the data to back up. Also, city officials said that there were damaged buildings, 2400 block of Washington Avenue, for example, 12 people were displaced. There was a garage damaged over on Lansdowne Avenue, and they had to expedite a permit to demolish it because it got in the way of the T1 trolley over there.
Wow.
So like amazing that this storm like knocked down buildings. And it wasn't just the lemon drop event. Southeast Asian Market also got hit really hard over at FDR Park, down trees. Apparently all of the vendors' tents were like collapsed. A couple of people got some scratches. Wow. So their folks are going to have to recover from that. They lost food, they lost inventory. And I'll leave you with one like positive point. I loved seeing on Instagram all these people that were just helping clean up.
I know.
Down at,
yes.
Isn't that amazing? Like Wharton Square Park is filled with a lot of old growth trees down in South Philly, and neighbors were out there like immediately pulling branches away from paths, cutting down stuff. I mean, really wonderful response from the communities in Philly after the storm.
And also shout out to the first responders as well.
Yes.
Who made it to the scenes. It's so hard to put on any type of festival, right? And we did an episode recently with the city controller about, some of the logistical things that organizers have to go through just to get the space, get the permits, get the security, get this, get that. And then all of that hard work could be destroyed by a goddamn microburst.
Yeah, and you don't see it coming.
Right.
And it's hard to like a one-day festival. It's hard to kind of be like, all right, you know what? We're going to actually pick up and we'll do this tomorrow or we'll do this next weekend.
No.
It's not as easy. And it's like a financial burden too for organizers.
That's all I was just going to say. Like, it's like the money aspect, but also trying to, if you want to have an outdoor event, you want to have a rain, date just in case.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of things that go into factors with even having that. And again, who's to say that when you have a rain date that it doesn't happen again?
Right.
So you're kind of just at the mercy of outside forces of putting on an event outside, and that's kind of the risk reward of it all.
Well, speaking of the weather has also impacted the previous July 4th celebrations, America's 250th. Right. and FIFA World Cup with some of the heat waves and the rainstorms. But we'll talk more about some of the other impacts from these major events after the break. As you begin to make your itinerary for summer, add Brooklyn Bowl to the list. Brooklyn Bowl is a perfect blend of live music, bowling, beer, and food. It's located in Fishtown next to the Fillmore. 24 bowling lanes, 2 bars, and a restaurant featuring food from the Blue Ribbon Restaurant Group. It's open Thursday through Saturday evenings with live shows and parties every week. Half-price bowling Thursdays, family bowl Saturdays, plus food and drink specials in the restaurant during Phillies games. Go to brooklynbowl.com/Philadelphia to purchase tickets to shows, make a restaurant reservation, or inquire about hosting your next private event on the Brooklyn Bowl lanes. We've got some new numbers on how well the city did for this year's 250th anniversary. Visit Philadelphia, which is the tourism arm of the city, said that Philly hotels reached nearly 90% occupancy on July 4th. City hotels generated nearly $6 million in revenue. And then the overall Philly County got more than $7 million from these hotels. Is that surprising to you, Matt, Jay?
I mean, to me, it kind of makes sense. I feel like with Airbnb, kind of where they're at, for lack of a better word, insane they are with certain rules and the rates for Airbnb nowadays when they know there's a big event. It kind of draws people away from that, and they're like, well, I might as well just go to a hotel and spend my money there, knowing that.
Oh, you're talking about like it becomes more expensive?
Yeah. And also there's a lot of checklists that these hosts put in place for these guests who have to follow. And if they don't follow, there's a fee. And it kind of deters people from wanting to do Airbnb. And well, if I'm gonna spend this much, I might as well do a hotel where I don't have to change the linens. I don't have to, wash the linens. I don't have to do this, or there's not gonna be a fee for this. And we're
Or
in
there
the
might be
city.
a pool and an exercising room.
Right. If I have kids, there's activities and stuff. So I think to me it makes sense, and I feel like Airbnb had a little bit to do with that because of the fees, and I feel like these hosts are taxing people, charging people a lot for different things that they don't follow through, and or just the rates in general.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of rates, it looks like these numbers that Visit Philly came out with, the average hotel room rate was $459 on July 4th.
Wow.
So, I don't know.
And you know what? I think that's kind of low. I'm going to be honest. I think that's kind of low.
Really? Okay.
Because here's why.
A daily room rate?
People are paying twice that going down the shore.
That's true.
Some people are paying 600, 700, and the rooms, and they're a lot of them are motels, and they're not like the Marriott, and they're still paying that.
Right.
And it's 4th of July, and it's on a weekend. I think the math makes sense to me. And again, if you look at some of these Airbnb prices, I can only imagine it's probably triple that.
I think it's great that the hotels were almost completely booked.
100%,
I mean, it did feel like there were more people in the city just over the last several weeks primarily because of the World Cup, but also because of all these other things going on. And I just hope they come back. I hope people came here for a few days, saw a ball game, and then are like, I freaking love this place. I can't wait to come back with family or friends or whatnot. I mean, that's what was the whole point of doing all of these celebrations in the city this summer. One of the primary points was to boost our tourism industry going forward, right? We want people to go back to countries and towns and cities that they came from and bring their friends and family back to the city of brotherly love. I hope it happens.
I read in the Inquirer that even there were large amount of visitors who came to the Revolution Museum, the National Constitution Center, thousands, right? Great. That's amazing, right? And why wouldn't they? It was a historical weekend, right? Okay. More than 400,000 fans from 190 countries attended the FIFA World Cup matches that we held here in the city. 250,000 people made their way to the FIFA Fan Festival. And during the lead up to July 4th, so that Independence Week, more than 12,000 people showed up to the National Constitution Center and the Museum of the American Revolution. And the Revolution Museum said that on July 3rd and 4th were like some of their biggest days like ever, like 8,000 visitors over the holiday weekend.
And can I just add, like, for the World Cup, another compliment that these people were coming and saying was that Philly was really easy to get access from downtown to the stadiums, because a lot of these fan bases, they like to do marches, and they like to, like, come together and then have their kind of like a pep rally in a sense.
Yeah.
And they said that Philly was very easy to navigate, and being that it's the most walkable city in America, again, like I think 4 times in a row,
Yep.
like it shows that it made it easy for people who are used to, where they're from. They could just walk to different places and and not have to drive or, take different transition,
navigate to a swamp like you have to in New Jersey.
Right, and pay, $800 to park or something.
100%.
Yeah.
So that was, I think, SEPTA and all the sponsors who helped with the rides getting back, they did a really great job. The Philly Flash shuttle to the Fan Fest,
and it's not over. Fan Fest continues through Sunday.
Yep. That was another key point that I remember people were talking about, like how it was just easy to walk around and just go from South Philly to Center City in like 10 minutes. So that was really cool.
Wow, they must have been walking fast.
Oh, you know what I mean?
But what about small businesses, mom and pop businesses? There was so much promise, and we've talked about this on the show. And I read also FIFA had promised tens of billions of dollars in economic impact to the United States for the FIFA matches and things like that. But do the locals, do we feel that economic impact? Is that going to impact our libraries, our parks, our schools, our roads in any way? That is like, okay, yeah, you're going to come back to Philly. Okay, that's great. But does any of this help us in the long run? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, so some of it is obviously, good for our tax base for sure, right? But we just don't know how much yet, I think.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, talking about FIFA, I hosted a couple of watch parties. I went to a game. I went to a lot of different activations around that. And speaking with different people from around the world, I will say the majority of the people that I spoke to, they felt Philly, as far as like America host cities, was the best. If they felt like that this was more, for instance, I had a watch party and there was a couple of Brazilian guys that had never been to the States before. And, with Brazil, they have such a big fan base. They go to all of the cities that the game is played.
Mm-hmm.
So they were in New York when they had their first match in New York. Brazil had their first match in New Jersey, I should say.
Yeah, I was going to say MetLife.
Yeah, Jersey. And they were like, New York's cool, but they said, Philly felt like it felt like America. I don't know what that meant.
Oh, interesting.
But they were like, this is like what they thought America would look like. They loved the architecture. The food scene they were like, the food was amazing. Everyone was really hospitable, nice. It wasn't what they thought it was going to be. So I feel like FIFA and MLB All-Star and even the 250, it's changing the narrative of Philadelphia of being not just a city in the States, but an international city to come visit. And I feel like that was something that Philadelphia had always missed the mark on, because people would go to DC, skip over Philly, go to New York,
Totally.
As opposed to being like, no, you should really stop in Philly. And I think the city is embracing the international tourism more than I feel like they have been in the past 2 decades, really.
Oh, look at us. We are fancy now.
Took a while to get here.
Right,
That's true.
right.
And so the success of this whole thing shouldn't just be necessarily on the economic impact. It might also be on like what, I don't know, some of these intangibles, what the visitors' impressions and, what they go back home and tell people about Philadelphia.
And I feel like the food scene in Philly the last 15 years, I mean, you could put it up with any city around the world. And that has a lot to do with people wanting to come to different cities. Like they're like, I heard about cheesesteaks. Let's try a cheesesteak, and they love it. Or I heard about a pretzel, or heard about a roast pork. So like I think, and then having these chefs come from Chicago, New York, setting up base in Philly, from DC coming in, setting up base in Philly, they have notoriety around the country and around the world. Somebody in Croatia might follow this chef that was in New York, and they see that they have a restaurant in Philly. Like, oh, I remember when I went to New York, I went to their restaurant. I want to see what they have in Philadelphia. So that definitely changed a lot of the narratives with international spotlights and whatnot. And I think the food scene in Philly really helped with a lot of the tourism outside of America.
Best food in the world.
I'll put up against anybody.
All right. Well, speaking of food options, when we come back after this break, Jay's going to tell us about the food options for the All-Star Game. That's after the break. Okay, Jay, what can we eat for this All-Star Game tonight?
So they did a really cool thing where they brought an item from a different ballpark in America. So like Pittsburgh, I think it was like their pierogi that they brought in. That's very popular.
Now, is this going to be at the game, available at the game itself, or is this at the All-Star Village?
So I was a little confused about that myself. Yeah. I know it was definitely at the Village. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not sure.
I think this is at the All-Star Village, which is over at the convention center.
Right.
Where they've got food from all these ballparks around the country. There are some special food options at Citizens Bank Park for the game tonight too, but I'm not sure how many of them transfer.
Right. And I had an opportunity to check out the Hall of Fame Club in, preparing for MLB All-Star Weekend, and they had worked with several local establishments here in Philadelphia to curate an all-star kind of menu that has a lot of really cool different items.
Is the Hall of Fame Club that's at the stadium, right?
It's at the stadium, correct. Like there was this it was like a Diet Pepsi or Diet Coke ribs. They were really good. Freddy's had their chicken sandwich. There was a couple of other well-known establishments in Philly that they worked with. And I mean, it was like 10 a.m. trying all this food. So it was a lot going on.
Now, Matt, you are our resident baseball nerd, which I love. So tell me, what's the big deal?
Okay, great. Thank you. This is a perfect question for me.
Look, he's so ready. He's so ready. He's been waiting for this all week.
Tonight's a huge game. Tonight is the best baseball players in the world are in Philadelphia tonight for the All-Star Game. This is the game between the American League and the National League. Best players in the American League, best players in the National League. There's a fan vote, international fan vote for this. Players also have influence in who gets to go. And they play every year in the middle of the season. So we're at the halfway point of the season. And the All-Star Game has not been in Philadelphia since the 90s. So this is like a big moment for us. Plus, Philly got 6 All-Stars. So the Phillies have 6 All-Stars going to the game. And that's, we've talked about this, Trenae, even though I'm a diehard Philadelphian. I am a Mets fan because I grew up in Queens. I know,
yes,
sorry,
Jay. I've criticized him. I've scolded him.
She's bullied me.
Given him dirty looks.
Listen, I get enough shit, Jay. It's okay.
I get it. I get it. I get it. I rep it. I get it. I totally understand.
I also made my son a Mets fan, and he gets on a SEPTA bus with
Legacy?
a Mets jersey to go to school.
Man.
Legacy.
Holy cow, that's brave.
Yeah, hardcore.
No pun intended.
And we suck this year, really bad. So by way of comparison, the Phillies have 6 players in this game. The Mets have 1, and that's only because they require like a baseball rule that every team has to send at least one person.
At least one player, correct. The last time the All-Star Game here was 30 years ago. It was 96. So it kind of everything lined up to have it back, which. Sidebar, I think that's a shame because Citizens Bank Park is one of the best parks in the country. I don't know why it took 30 years to come back.
Well, it's never actually been at Citizens Bank Park because in 96
it was at the vet.
It was at the vet.
Yeah.
No, right. That's a great point. But again, I think I'll put the Citizens Bank Park against any other park.
Totally.
I do like Colorado. Colorado's stadium is amazing. But Yeah, I don't know why it took that long, but I'm not mad that it was it was the 30th anniversary, but also 250 for America, so it lined up really really nicely.
And the other big Philly headline for the game tonight is Christopher Sanchez is the starting pitcher. Philly's ace is actually starting for the National League, and that's a big honor. So that basically means you're the best
pitcher
of all the best pitchers. You're the best pitcher of them all.
Yeah,
at least this season for sure. And it was well deserved. He's been putting up insane numbers this season and last season.
Now, the problem with the game tonight is that you have to be like really rich or know somebody.
A millionaire?
Really yeah. It's the ticket prices are crazy. They're actually higher than the World Cup tickets were.
What?
And it's really like frustrating for a hardcore baseball fan. I would love to be there. I am going to try the Trenae trick of trying to get the tickets right before the game.
That's
your
good
move,
trick.
Trenae.
That's a good trick.
Tell everybody
Jay,
your move.
I actually it was the game that was going to take us to the Super Bowl. Washington Commanders, Philadelphia Eagles.
Gotcha.
I got
NFC Conference.
And there's two kids standing next to me. They are my roommates. They call me mom. And they're looking at me and I'm like, all right, we went to the tailgate. We were in the vibes. Can I do this? Those tickets were like $300 each, which was a deal because back then
That's a deal.
We were talking about those tickets being like, we saw prices like $800 per
Standing
ticket.
room.
Yeah. So I was able to get us. We were in section 2, something. It was high up in the sky, but we saw our Eagles win that night.
You were there. No, I think at this point 300 is pretty. Like those are, to be fair, those are like the selling price, like the original prices before the resellers.
For sure.
Right?
Yes.
Right.
So it's not as bad, but when you see it on on these other apps like SeatGeek or whatever, and it's like an inflation double the size, you're like, who were these tickets for? Like,
I know.
And even for like concerts, I'm going to see Jill Scott in about like a week or so. And I dropped like close to 200.
Sure.
Just for one ticket.
That's wild. That's wild. Well, if you can't afford that, like most of us can't, you can't afford to go to the game tonight, there is still the All-Star Village, which is still at the convention center until for the rest of today. And Jay, you were there, right? It was very cool.
Yeah, I thought they utilized the space very well. They have a lot of really cool exhibits of history, like baseball history. So they had a very prominent Latino exhibit of all the players, prominent players. They had obviously the Negro Leagues. They had that. They had an exhibit for women in baseball. So like a lot of women that are either coaches or assistants or in executives and those positions. So I thought that was really cool to show everything outside of just being on the field.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, they had like VR activations for like the VR home run derby. They had batting cages. Again, they had the food where you could try different items from different stadiums across the country.
Okay, what was the best food item from the stadiums that you did try?
The pierogi was really good, but I also really loved the lobster roll. I believe that was from Boston or Maryland. It was one of those. I can't remember. It was one of those two, but because it was so much food.
Yeah.
But I remember vividly, like, whoa, this is really good.
Man, when I was there on Saturday, I took my son. I could not. The lines for that part were so extensive. It was like going to Disney World. The lines were really rough. So I did wait in line for a hot dog. I got the New York hot dog because it had sauerkraut. But
is it a Nathan's hot dog?
It wasn't. No, it wasn't as good.
No, it wasn't
and the bun was soggy. How does the bun get soggy?
Ew.
Oh, it was so rough.
That's the worst.
Don't give me soggy bread in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
But the rest of it was very cool. They had like World Series trophies. They had MVP trophies. You could see like the real thing. They had a lot of retired Phillies who were signing autographs, taking pictures.
Yep, meet and greets.
The coolest thing was they had a thing where you could pretend to be drafted because the MLB draft was actually happening across the street at the same time.
Yep.
So my son got a Mets jersey that he held up as if he was like a new out of college draftee. And then an announcer said, And now selected by the
Yep.
New York Mets from
that
South
is so
Philadelphia. And then he got to
cute.
like, it was
It's one
very
of the
cute.
it's one of the coolest activations there. The pretend draft, and it looks. I mean, the stage was amazing.
Yeah.
Having the draft there, as well as all this other things that are going on at the same time, was really cool.
So basically, Philly really showed out for this, is what I'm hearing.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Absolutely, yeah. I think this year with all the events, whether it was FIFA, MLB 250, I think Philadelphia really showed what it could do and really kind of honed in on what are people looking for, what are the casuals looking for, what are the diehards, what are the history buffs. Like they kind of covered a lot of
Mm.
different points that if you're not a baseball fan, you can still go and have a good time because you might learn something new or you might try something new. So I think they really nailed it.
Do you think that maybe some of the hiccups that we mentioned earlier, like the weather and the long lines, impacted your experience in any way or made you less optimistic?
I think with long lines, it kind of comes with the territory, especially when you have something that's only here for 3 days. I think it's more one of the things that you kind of have to figure out. Like, we should probably go early, or we should probably go later, or trying to, or ask other people, what do you think? And I think that happens with anywhere you go when there's a big festival or a big, uh, a large crowd. Maybe have more food kiosk throughout, the venue that might help. But logistically, I don't know how that goes down or what those conversations are looking like. But there's only so much you could do to help with lines, especially when you're
Yeah.
inside already. So
And do you think like overall the communication like to event goers, like did you understand your way navigating through these exhibits and all of these different events?
I did, but when you mentioned communication, and I do feel like there were things happening in the city that I wasn't aware of, and I feel like there was lacking some sort of like master calendar of all of this stuff. Like I found out the day after there was this drone show, MLB All-Star drone show that looked extremely cool over at the Parkway on Sunday night. And I didn't know about it. And I'm a big baseball guy. And I'm
Sure.
like paying
Right.
attention to all this stuff. And I would have loved to have gone down there or found a roof and watched it. So it would have been, if there was like some sort of like master app or master calendar somewhere. No, there is an app. Right.
Dun,
Is that on
dun,
the
dun,
app?
dun, dun. This is the
Is the drone show on the
2026
app?
Access Philly app.
Well, on the app, I'm looking
On
now.
the app.
It doesn't mention the drone show. Does not mention the drone show.
Oh, it does not.
Does not. And another point of confusion, I thought that when I went to the All-Star Village on Saturday that I would see the MLB draft, the actual real draft, not the one my son
Oh, like so
participated
you
in.
wanted to see it on TV, like on a monitor
No,
and stuff.
the draft actually happened in Philly, but it was across the street. And I thought that at the All-Star Village, there was going to be a stage inside there that my ticket got me into. But I went to show my ticket to get into the draft, and they're like, no, you can't get in here. You don't have a ticket for the draft. You only have a ticket for the All-Star Village. So that was confusing also to me. So maybe some of this is my fault, obviously, but like I do think I give them a B on communicating calendar of events.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of the drone show, and we get emails all the time with press releases and whatnot. And I thought because sometimes on our Water Ice media page, there's things that Hector, our founder, will post, and I'm like, oh, I didn't realize we posted it, but I had to go back, like, did we post that? Because normally we kind of find the little nooks and crannies of different
Right.
things that going on,
Right.
and we didn't
Which I
even put it.
love that you guys do. Love
thank
Water
you.
Ice.
Thank you. Yeah, like I didn't even see it on our page, so I was like, I guess we didn't. I guess we missed the memo or missed the email or something. But that was news to me when I found out about it too.
Well, I got some news for you now. If you go to the All-Star Game tonight, the Pennsylvania Lottery is going to give you a free ride home. That's right. They're giving free rides from the NRG station at the end of the 6th inning, and it'll run until 11:59 p.m.
Nice.
I mean, all these rich people going to the game, though, they're just going to take
I know they're
helicopters
gonna
out of
take-
there.
Yeah. They got a runway for their private jet at Jethro.
Exactly right.
Oh my gosh.
Also, I think DraftKings, the gambling app, is also sponsoring those free trips home.
Yeah, they sponsored yesterday's
the home run derby.
The home run derby. Yep. All right, Matt, Jay, thank you so much for chatting with me on the Tuesday News Roundup.
Thanks, Trenae.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.
That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. If you enjoyed this Tuesday News Roundup, share this with a friend. Also rate the show, leave us a review, and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to sign up for our morning newsletter to learn more about what else Philly's talking about. And don't forget, you can support the show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Philly neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye.